Hey everyone, it's Allison here again with New Little Life. Today we're talking about what to expect on the third day of breastfeeding. So my brand new little guy is 7 days old and I've just made it through the first week of breastfeeding, which is an accomplishment in and of itself. We've already talked about days 1 and 2, so if you missed those, you can go back and watch them. And in this video, we're going to be talking about what to expect on the third day of breastfeeding. Now, this is notoriously the hardest day. So just you can kind of prep your mind for that. For most moms, this is a tricky one. And there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, your baby blues and crazy hormones is probably in full swing. So this is a day where moms usually get kind of emotional, can kind of feel like things are falling apart, but a lot of that is just hormones. So hang in there. If you're crying for no reason, it's okay. It gets better. This is also a really common day for your milk to start transitioning. And I more often hear moms talk about their milk coming in, but you've had milk the whole time. It just starts as colostrum, and then it kind of transitions, and then it becomes mature milk. Oh, yeah. He doesn't like remembering that day because he was hungry. And again, it just adds to the feeling of frustration a little bit on that third day. He was hungry and his stomach was a little bigger than when he was born. So I showed you this in the day 1 video, but the newborn stomach is really about the size of a cherry. It's pretty small. And then by day 3, it's quite a bit bigger. So you can kind of see the size difference there. Again, your body should be making what your baby needs. It's just it's a tricky day because they're hungry and they want the fluids and your body's working on it. So try and be patient. Your milk probably is transitioning at this point and you might be noticing a little bit more quantity, which is great, but the baby's probably still wanting to eat all the time. And again, that is very, very normal. Hopefully you've figured out a good latch by now. If not, you definitely need to go get some help with that. You don't want to continue on with a bad latch. It's really going to cause problems for you and for the baby. You want to make sure that they're getting enough milk with a good latch and also not damaging you. So it's super, super important if you're still struggling on day 3 with getting the baby to latch right, and ask for some help. If you are having some sore nipples, which you probably are, it's pretty normal for you to be a little bit tender and a little bit sore. Again, you should not be having like pain and misshapen things, cracks, bleeding. That's not normal. But a little bit of soreness and kind of a raw feeling is pretty normal. But there's a couple things you can do to help with that. So let me show you some of the favorite products that I used to kind of cope with that on that third day or so. Okay, so kind of the traditional one is like a lanolin cream. And this is like a really thick cream. It kind of acts as like a barrier, kind of keeps the nipple a little bit more moist. A lot of hospitals will give these to you. They're also pretty cheap. I'll put some links down below on Amazon if you want to have some on hand. This is a really common product to use for sore and tender nipples. If you want a more organic option, you could go with something like this Earth Mama organic nipple butter. It's actually lanolin free. So this is better if you're using something like a washable nursing pad, because the lanolin really messes these up a little bit. If you're using a disposable one, it doesn't matter because you're throwing it away. But the lanolin can kind of get caught in the fabric and it's not going to absorb milk and stuff as well in the future. So a lanolin free product would be better if you're using something like that. This organic stuff worked pretty well. It's not as like sticky as the lanolin and it moisturizes the skin, I guess, a little bit. So I tend to go back and forth. I do like the thick just feeling of the lanolin sometimes. And then for just more minor irritations and stuff, the organic stuff is better. You can also use breast milk. So if at the end of a feeding, if you just kind of hand express a couple of drops of breast milk and just rub it around on the nipple and then let it air dry, that's probably the best thing you could do. So, and that's free. So feel free to utilize your own breast milk and to aid in some of your healing and soothing that way. And I also found one of these helpful. This is made by Medela. This is just a soft shell. So this is not like the Haka or anything like that. It's just a shell. It's got an opening in the back for your nipple and some air ducts up top. So all you do is just stick this in your bra and then nothing is touching your nipple. It's like floating in here. And I found that really soothing sometimes when I just like didn't want to put my bra back over it because it just needed a second to like air and not touch anything. So this actually was really helpful just to kind of stick in there. You can also use this to catch like some leaking milk. There's no suction on it, not like the Haka pump, which is really popular right now. It's just sitting there and collecting milk. Definitely don't bend over. These holes will spill very easily, and it's not going to hold very much. It was really soothing to not have my nipple touching anything for just a minute sometimes. So I'll put a link to those down below. I found those really helpful. So there's a few tips for you on kind of dealing with some sore nipples. Probably will be a little bit tender on day 3 though. They toughen up quick though. Hang in there. Okay, so your baby wants to eat all the time, and I get it. I was just there and it's a lot. You're probably home from the hospital by day 3. So this could be your first day on your own. Again, kind of adding to the feelings. I had a home birth, so we were home from the first day. So I didn't feel that as much with this one, but my other 2 were hospital births. And day 3, again, was like trying to figure stuff out on your own now. I can totally sympathize if you're kind of feeling that added stress as well. You'll get it. Trust your instincts. Babies are very resilient. So just go with the flow and kind of, it's a learning curve. You're doing fine. The best thing you can do to help bring your milk in quicker is to give unlimited access to the breast. So I know it is so hard. You're trying to heal and it's a lot. But if you can just, hopefully your schedule's already clear, but clear your schedule. Just focus on feeding that baby whenever they're hungry. It's really going to help your milk transition in. You cannot nurse your baby too often. You can nurse them too little. So be cautious of that. But don't be worried that they're going to want to be on the breast all the time. You're like training them bad habits now. Like that's not a thing. You cannot feed them too much at this point. So if they just want to be on there all day, if they're cluster feeding multiple times a day or through the night, I'm so sorry. I was just there. I feel for you. But it's really going to help you in the long run. So if you can kind of just manage your expectations and go with, you know what, this is my only job right now, is just feeding this baby and healing myself, you'll be better off in the long run. Hang in there. If your nipples do just need like a little break and you want an alternative to latching the baby, you can hand express a little bit of your milk, and you can hand express it into a little cup or into a Haka if you've bought one of those for later. Don't be using the Haka just quite yet. And then you can feed them another way. So you can cup feed them with just one of those little medicine cups. I have another video on alternatives to the bottle, and I'll post a link up top if you want to kind of see each of these options. But you can use a little medicine cup and just kind of cup feed them in. It's a real fun little thing. They kind of lap it up like a kitten. It's really cute. You can also use a syringe. So hand express into a little cup and then draw into a syringe and just slowly syringe feed them if you wanted to do that. You can also finger feed them a little bit. So with just a little bit of milk on the finger and then kind of suck it off, dip and repeat. On day 3, they're probably taking in a little bit more quantity, probably closer to a tablespoon or 2. So the finger feeding is going to take you a little while, but a cup or a syringe is a great option. You don't necessarily have to give them a bottle. The best way really is to latch your baby as often as you can, but there's a couple of other options for you if you want. Okay, and I think the most important thing to take away from day 3 of breastfeeding is just to be patient with yourself. I know it's silly, but take care of your mental health. This is a hard day, and this is the most common day that I see moms posting in my Facebook groups and asking for help, from a lactation counselor is on that 3rd day where they're like, my life is just falling apart. I have a hungry baby and it's a lot. Okay, you're not alone. So take care of your mental health and step away when you can. Ask for help from a partner, from a mother, from a friend. Take short breaks away from your baby if that is helpful for you. Really experiment with some different positions. My favorite position is side-lying nursing. So we lay in a bed and his little arm is right on my arm and he can access the breast that way, and we're both laying down belly to belly on our sides, and I can just scoop him up and we can both rest. So if you haven't already, try out that position. It's one of my favorites and the most relaxing I've found to kind of rest and also breastfeed in. He usually falls asleep that way, and I just let him sleep there with me while I'm resting and relaxing. If you're in a safe place, like on a bed with no extra blankets, and you can fall asleep too, please do that. You want to be careful on a couch. You don't want baby getting trapped in between anything, or in a chair. You also don't want to be sleeping while you're nursing your baby in a chair. But on a flat bed with no sheets or blankets, go for it. Take a nap. Hang in there on day 3. It's not always going to be like this. You can do it. I know you can. Reach out for help if you need to. We're going to go over to day 4, which is also a fun day. So I'll see you over there. Don't forget to find me on Instagram, Facebook, and also support the channel on Patreon if you can. See you over on day 4.